Hello and welcome to iTradeAIMS.net. This is Imi, and so this Sunday I'm going to do my Forex chart analysis using the TradingView platform. We are going to look at several different pairs and we are going to do multiple time frame analysis. Let's begin. Okay, so this is my TradingView platform. You see the AIMS data with the purple, the box, and the AIMS wave. We don't have the cherry signal and the seed signal from the hunt signal. We don't have the fruit signals as well. So that is available on the MT4 charts. We haven't coded them for the TradingView and probably will never do. But the hunt signal and the fruit signals are available to the members. If you would like to join us, please feel free. You're welcome to join us. The discount is still going on, where you will get access to these two other strategies. But on this YouTube channel, I share all of my the setup one signals, but know it that inside the setup one signals, the hunt signals are really a fractal geometric sister of the setup one. So basically, when you have a strong wave going on, something like so, inside it, you will get a setup one on the lower time frame. But instead of going to the lower time frame, we have coded indicators and embedded our trading rules into those indicators, which will prompt you on a 5 times higher time frame that there's a setup one on the lower time frame. So you don't need to go to the lower time frame, you just take advantage of that. You see this candle now, the seed signal is an inside bar pattern, but it's a qualified inside bar, because if you take inside bars everywhere, the success rate is less than, say, for even 30%. So that's a different mechanism. What we have chosen is that this method allows you to filter the signals that don't qualify. So this signal is a very good signal where you have a wave 5 going on and you have those dark bars on the AO, and then you have a seed signal with open data. So on the gold, that was one of the beautiful setup. So I made a separate video on the gold chart, so please do have a look at that video as well. Okay, so let's start with the Australian dollar USD alphabetical order. As we can see, the market, after dropping earlier this year, has recovered. Not only recovered, it's broken all the highs to the left. So we are seeing the highs of the year. There was a pretty good seed signal here, but the normal setup one breakout. This is a setup 2 breakout because AO hasn't crossed the zero line. That happened, so we are long from here, and we will hold this position up to when it closes on the green line. Meanwhile, if we go to the 4-hour chart, there was a setup on the 4-hour chart as well, and now it's building into something. So what would happen is, if the price goes sideways like so, in the next week coming, this might create another setup, and then it will probably break up there. So on the 4-hour chart, we have this one pattern going on. If you go to the hourly chart, you have this is not a setup one now because price has gone below the purple, but if it were to go sideways and comes up there, and if that 4-hour setup was to happen, that is probably going to continue going up, because we have an uptrend going. And we have 2 pause candles, and there's a doji on this day. Let's zoom in a bit. So we have this doji here, and above the high of the doji, we can see some more longs. So as it goes above this level on the hourly chart, we'll probably get 1 or 2 setups during the week. So this is definitely on the watch list. Let's have a quick look at the Australian Dollar Cad. Similar situation, but because it's against the USD Cad, this has a very smooth uptrend, and now we have a kind of a pin bar situation here. It's pulled price back to the green line, which probably will now create a setup on the 4-hour chart, but this has been going for quite a while, a very extended trend. This also could produce a setup 1, but this pullback is a little bit too much. So we'll see what it does. But based on the Australian dollar analysis, we'll see where Australian dollar is, and then we can see where Australian dollar Cad can be traded. Next one I'm going to look at is the Cad Yen. So let's go to the daily chart first. So on the Cad Yen, this apparently was a setup one, but let me tell you why I don't like this kind of setup one. Is because when you see a 3 here and there's a 3 down here, this is the 3-3 situation. The most important thing is that if you look at it, this is the strong wave down. So you have this strong wave down, and everything after that is still under this. So this pair has not really recovered from that drop, and now it's consolidated, and there was a fake out here. So if you went long on this here, then you are probably out below this candle, or you're out below that candle. If you're still in it and you still are looking for longs, then your stop loss would be here if you're allowing it more space. So the reason I said that I didn't like that setup on the daily chart was because of the weekly chart that we have. So on the weekly, even before the pandemic, this pair has been kind of range bound, going sideways, but mildly trending down. If you look at this, it has been trending down, and that's the overall trend of it, but not in a clean fashion. It's making big wild swings. In this pandemic situation, it made the wild swing, came down, went up. Now it's consolidating here, and this is what I call a B trap. So there is a high created, but then there's a lower high, and then it tried to break that high, but it was rejected. So this is rather a bearish pattern going on right now. So what you could see is that market would create a range like so, and then if it breaks below this range, then all the trades on the daily will be available for us. If you're into that analysis, then you can go short below this with stop loss sum up there and target these levels. But that is not a setup one, so we'd rather wait for the breakout and see what develops on this pair. Let's have a look at the Euro Australian dollar now. So what we saw was a strong move up during the pandemic. Then after that, it came back to its former levels. You can see that it broke, it encountered these levels here, and now it's holding those levels. So it couldn't break that level down here, and now it's consolidating. So this one needs to create a setup one, wave 4 here. It will go sideways a bit more, and when it drops below those levels, that's when you can look for more sells on this. But currently the euros are actually gaining, so which is why the Australian dollar, the euro dollar against the Australian dollar, has now started going sideways. When we go to the euro dollar analysis, you will see what's happening. Now let's have a look at the Euro Cad. Now, because we know that the euros are moving, this pair actually broke out here, retested the levels. As you can see, it retested this level on this candle and then retested it again. So this itself is what we call the PC cherry signal. This was the PC cherry. Let me bring the picture from MT4. Right, so this is the Euro Cad chart on the MT4 platform. So what we see, these dots are the AIMS entry alert to be 5.1, used for the setup 1. They're not available on the trading view, but they play a pretty good part in my trading, and you can actually develop a strategy based on entering based on this as well. But we use it as an alert for that there's a potential setup 1 forming. This would be a potential setup 1, and your entry would be here. But I wanted to show on this chart was this cherry signal. So this is the Hunt cherry signal that was created. So even if you did not know how to monitor these levels and stuff, and if you just followed the Hunt trading signals, this was a pretty good signal. You go long above here and stop loss somewhere here, and now you'll be targeting these levels. So that's the cherry that I was talking about. So on the trading view chart, you can see this here. This is the pin bar type of candle, which has a rejection here based on a PC pattern. If you want to learn more about PC pattern, we have a book about this as well, a tiny little book. PC pattern is a very, very good pattern, and as you know, as traders, technical traders, we are pattern traders. So if you find a pattern that repeats itself happens all the time and appears to be part of the structure of the market, then that pattern is a money-making machine. So PC pattern is one that appears all the time. I highly recommend everyone learns it. It's a very good pattern. So when I take the hunt cherry signals, I like it to be a PC pattern as well. That increases its success rate. You want the open gator and this candle formation and the cherry signal that to pop up. On the hourly chart, it had created a setup one, so you have this new peak. Then after that, AO crossed the zero line, AIMS wave crossed the zero line, and then gator is sleeping. You could go long here and then followed by another long here, but this depends on your geographic location. Let's look at euro pound. Euro pound has been in an interesting uptrend, but not as strong as we like. And that is because the euros are going up, but the pounds are going down, and sometimes the pound goes sideways. So it's kind of an accurate representation of the euro USD and the pound USD, the GBP USD. So it has created a C signal here, but now it's consolidating. Let's delete that. If we go to the 4-hour chart, we have the 3 up, 4 down, and 5 up, and in which there is probably a little bit more left. On the hourly chart, we have some sort of a setup one going on, but the box is too high. So if the market clears these levels, goes above that level, then during the week we can expect some more setups on this pair as well. Euro pound is euro yen is the next one. So the euro yen had an extraordinary wave 3 up. We have a seed signal here as well, as you can see. After that, it did a clear ABC. That's a PC pattern as well. Long from here, add on here, and the target point is hit. Now this was a reversal type of seed, but it's in an uptrend. What we see now is a very strong rejection of the lows here, and it is telling us that there could be more highs coming. So if you go to the hourly chart for this, what we could see is price continue to go up, and we will see what it does around this level in the week to come. If it goes above it, then we'll be watching, and I will probably post another video. There will be some signals on this as well. That's if the euros overall continue to go up. So if you go to the euro USD, which is the main, so this is the euro USD that I've been following for a few months. On TradingView, I made this on TradingView, I shared this count of the Elliott wave somewhere around this region, and I shared the signal. Let me bring it. Let me play that for you. So the euro USD on the daily chart has created this pattern that I've been following for quite a while. As we can see from here, go long here, see how it reacts to this level overnight or tomorrow, and see how it reacts here. If it kind of comes back down, then it might create. So as you saw, I was referring to those levels. So that's that level. It held that level. It came back around this level. So if you see, it kind of broke up here, reacted to that price level, came back, and then these levels brought in more buyers, and it has gone past the high of the 3, and it's constantly going up. Now our trade target was the target zone 1 over here, so we are out of it, but it seems to be going, and it's strongly going up. So if you go to the hourly chart, despite the fact that it was going really nicely on the daily chart, you didn't really see pretty good setups on the hourly chart, and this is pretty normal. Sometimes the market creates a setup on a certain time frame, and on the other time frames, lower time frames, you would expect that it would move on those time frames as well. But for some reason it moves, but it just doesn't create that pattern. So if that doesn't happen and the market is moving, you do not trade, because that's not your pattern. In the long term, your pattern will appear. Your pattern will appear. You will trade it when the pattern appears. So if we go to the daily chart, this setup one worked its way. It was a little bit difficult to start with, but once it started and it cleared the levels, it just shot up. That is setup 1. So you will find this pattern on any time frame that you choose. I personally like to stick to a time frame. So if you decide to trade the hourly chart, the hourly time frame is your trading time frame, then stick to that. If you choose to go with 4-hour time frame, then stick to that. If you go with a daily time frame, obviously you would need more funds. So if you have, let's say, anything above 10K account and you trade the daily charts, you have to think long term, because with the daily charts you can do your whatever job you're doing and work you're doing. It only needs 10 to 15 minutes a day to actually check the charts, look for the pattern, take the trade. Gbp AUD, pound against the Australian dollar. So the pound has been losing value against the Australian dollar, but in the most recent days here it is now diverging. So this is kind of a very strong wave 3 down, and it will probably stay sideways for a while. If not, and it continues to go down, it will produce some setups on the 4-hour charts as well. If you go to the 4-hour chart quickly and we head backwards, you can see it created quite a lot of setups along the way. And on the hourly charts, even more so, you can see different kind of setups happening on the hourly chart. So every time frame is slightly different. You have to play it that way. Even though your pattern might appear, similar pattern appears on different time frames, but every time frame lower than the daily chart has its own tiny differences. For example, in 4-hour charts, you will get 2 candles where the market really goes dead. Those are probably the Asian session. So if it's not a yen pair, let's say it's a Euro USD or the pound dollar, in most cases it will probably stay sideways. So those candles are kind of empty of data. It still is okay, the pattern is still there, but that's one little tiny difference in there. And the hourly charts have then the same thing, but you have 8 hours of period. So during the dead session, the market will create a tight range and it would appear as a setup 1. So that's also a little bit different. Not too different, but still kind of similar. Okay, so Gbp Chf is probably creating a breakout setup here. We don't have a nice clean 3, but we can consider this as some sort of a 3 down and a 4 up. This could be a 1-2, but it's largely sideways. If you were to go short here, your stop loss would be up there, and you can target these levels. Short from here, targeting those levels. Plenty of space underneath it. The pound yen, it broke above this box level, but you have this another box high that was acting as a resistance, and it did react to it. Price went down, but it bounced against the green line or these levels. So there is still chance that it could probably create some long setup. So if you look at the 4-hour chart, we have a 3, 4, and a 5 completed. So this was a pretty good setup for the 4-hour chart. Last week, 20th of July, you would go long here, trail candles, get out there, or you had a target zone, which would be somewhere here. You could have your target based on this, and look how accurately it hit the target. So that was the Gbp JPY, the pound yen, the dragon. It had a long signal here, and look where it hit. It hit target zone 1 to the pip. So that's the setup 1 pattern. Love this pattern. We'll see if we get some signals on the daily chart or on the hourly chart. So what I saw here, you can see a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me draw the Elliott wave for you. 1, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is the type of wave 4 that you cannot trade with a setup 1 using its mechanism of flat box. So it doesn't conform to one of the rules of setup 1 where you need, I think I made a little analysis on this as well, that if market stayed sideways inside this box, if you look at this, I think it would be in the trading ideas as well. Yes, here it is. I shared this idea that if the market stayed sideways like so, then there will be an opportunity to trade long, but what happened was that it first went down. So for this, we have the Apple signal, which is available in the members area only. The Apple signal then allowed you to actually go long here with stop loss down here. As you can see, the bounce of the purple, and that Apple signal then takes you all the way up to this. Now price is moving really strongly up, so you would have trailed your candles. So this turned into a pretty good signal. So when we have a flat wave 4, we use the setup 1, but if we have the zigzag pullback wave 4 like this one, then we have the Apple signal for that you can trade to trade the next wave 5 up. The pound dollar was stuck in a sleeping gator situation here. It broke out on the 7th of July earlier this month, tested those levels just like the pound yen, came back and created this doji type of candle, but it wasn't strong enough. If the tail was sticking out all the way down here, then it would be a strong signal. We would have gone long on that, but then we waited for the market to actually break this box high, and as soon as this box high is broken on the lower time frame, you can time some trading signals. So just like the pound yen, I saw this move up, and I was hoping, not hoping, I was looking for this price for it to create a box like so, but it didn't. Instead, it went down. As you can see, we have the Apple signal here again, but it didn't follow through all the way. But by this time, you would have trailed the boxes or the green line. It was still a very profitable signal on that. So during the rest of the week, it could not break the high of wave 3 there, but then it tried again on Friday. If you went long here, you either had a pretty good winner here, or you're still in the trade, expecting the price to go further up. The Kiwi, New Zealand dollar USD. We had signals on this earlier, analysis as well. Once it broke here, as you can see, we have the seed signal here, the inside candle. So this was itself was a very, very good trade that you would exit trailing candles. Then it started going sideways. I was monitoring this, and during this sideways, it created another seed signal here that you could take and go long. But inside this, so that candle pattern on the daily chart actually prompted me to look at the 4-hour chart. And on the 4-hour chart, you have a nice 3 here. You can see this price going up. Price goes up, creates a sideways boxed market, gator sleeping, tight box, and you have a purple here. This was a pretty good setup 1. So this is the chart of Australian dollar yen taken by one of the members of AIMS. This is a picture from AIMS forum over here. So in the AIMS forum, all the members keep their journals so that they can stay disciplined and use the journal for review. It also serves as a way for the community to actually look at each other's ideas and setups and support each other. So that's the Australian dollar yen taken by Vicky. Pretty good setup. Took it here. After that, I'm sure she did nothing, just allowed the trade to run, and it hit its target point. I think if she had targeted those levels, it hit those targets as well. It's a pretty good trade. Let's have a look at USD Cad. USD Cad has had a beautiful setup 1. Of course, we talked about it. The signal was given quite a few days in advance, as you can see, and it finally breaks, touches these levels. So if you were short from here and targeting these levels, the very high probability signal was there for you to take. You could have taken half out. You could have closed half your position at these levels, or you could bring stop loss to break even and see if it breaks these levels further and goes further down. I think I'd shared the trading idea on this. Yes, that's the USD short wave 5 idea that I shared earlier this month on TradingView here. So if you play it, you can see that the idea was shared very spot on. So the trade was entered here, and now it's still short, and see what happens in the weeks, in the days to come. Meanwhile, if it continues to go down on the hourly chart and the 4-hourly chart, it will produce some pretty good setup one. So on the 4-hour chart, now that we know that the daily chart, the alligator is open on the daily chart, on the 4-hour chart, every time there is a pause candle on the daily chart, let's see here, so these are like a couple of pause candles, it will create a setup one for us on the 4-hour chart. So if we give it a few, let's say tomorrow, maybe by the time, maybe on Wednesday, on Tuesday, this would have created a setup one short. So we'll have a look at it. And as it breaks out, it can also create a setup one on the hourly chart. So this is definitely on the watch list. Okay. Now just let's have a look at the USD CHF. Another fantastic, the Swizzy has been dropping from here. I was monitoring it. The box was tight, and the idea is, this is what we call the saddle point. So Bill Williams' idea of a saddle point is that when the gator is sleeping and the market goes sideways for an extended period of time, like it was on this, and the market is squeezing, that box is tightening, as you can see, kind of created a contracting triangle, right? And when it contracts, and if you use the Bollinger Bands, the Bollinger Bands are going to be very tight at that region. When the breakout happens, it's usually significant. So if you follow that method, you're short from here, and you are still following this trade, and now it has gone fantastically down. This is the pattern that I call the Waltz pattern. We traded this, so if you didn't take advantage of that, you had another signal here, but on the 4-hour chart and an hourly chart, it produced some very good setups as well. This is also a signal that you could go short below this box, and you're trailing candles now, or you have already exited because it hits your target point. I think I had an idea shared on TradingView on this as well. Let's find out. Let's have a look at the dollar yen. So the dollar yen has finally broken its consolidation, and it has broken quite strongly, has reacted to these levels, kind of closed within the range. So if you look at these levels, the close is still inside those levels. So what it is I call this a trend candle. So now the trend on the dollar yen is definitely short, but it's premature at the moment. So we'll see what it does during the week, during the coming week. But we have a strong 3, and we'd be looking to we have a strong 3, and now if the price kind of stays within this during the Asian session, it would produce a famous setup on the M15, or you can trade it on the hourly chart. And because the Swizzy is going down, basically the dollar is going down, this will continue down as well. So we'll see. This is also on the watch list. We'll see what happens. Let's have a quick look at volatility. So if you look at the volatility chart looks quite a lot like the indices and stuff. We had a strong 3 up there and then 4 down. So volatility has come back to normal, let's say. We like it when it's in those regions. You know, anything above 25 is really highly exciting, but it's still going pretty well. Let's have a look at the gold. Before we go, let's have a quick look at the German index. German index is in a wave 3 up, and inside the wave 3 I can see a 3, 4 and a 5. Let's delete those. Let's create a new count. So it's kind of confusing at the moment, but I can't call this as a huge 1 and 2, and I can't call this as a 1 and 2 either. But what I can do is I can do some internal count. So if I assume this is 1 and 2, this is my 3, this is 4, and then that is 5. Now we need to find out if this is the end of wave 5. So if that assumption is correct, then I will start my target zone from here. And surprise, surprise, guess where it bounced off? The target zone 1, 62%. So it's bounced off there. and this is where it created a pin bar, a bearish pin over there, you can see there, which was followed by an inside candle. This is one of my favorite patterns that you can actually go, very good for reversals, but it happens in trend as well, and I like to take this kind of setups in the direction of the trend. Obviously, you probably know that I trade DAX on the M1 chart every day at the London Open, and that is my main thing in trading. So that was my Sunday analysis of different charts. We can see that some of the markets are moving. The Swizzy is moving, so we will be looking at hourly and 4-hourly charts. Based on that, if we can find some setups on that, we see that the dollar yen has now broken. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's see if it continues to drop. The pound is kind of sideways, but some of it, but it's kind of going up as well. So we'll have a look at those as well. The euros have been gaining, so we'll see this week if the euros continue the gain or if it starts to go sideways. This has been a pretty strong, the last 3 months have been very strong for euro dollar. I think all the promises that the European Commission, the ECB and the European government is making have actually brought a lot of positivity into the market. So the euro dollar is gaining. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive green candles. So it is due for a correction, but the next week, it's the end of the month. So probably the market might not move as much, and the next month is August. Now I don't know how many traders will actually go into holidays, but it is a myth that August you know volatility, or I think the times have changed. People, everything is digital. Everyone has a lot more access to charts and brokerage and trading. So I think August, that old myth of market being thin during summer days and summer months, I think it's that myth has been busted. I've seen the market move in August. Steve made a pretty good blog on this. I read it. I'll probably link in the description. Pretty good blog about this, whether you should trade in August or not. It's based on some stats. So that's that. And so the euros are going up. The pound is mildly up. The dollars are dropping. So keeping that in mind, we'll go into this week and we will see if we can trade, and we will find opportunities using our patterns and trade them with discipline. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and hit me with a few comments with ideas or questions that you like that I would love to reply to. See you in the next one.